Hey there, Virgo, it's Viv. Welcome to your week ahead reading for the 16th of July 2018. I'm using the Modern Spellcasters Tarot, that's by Melanie Marquis, and it's the 8 card spread. So there's one card which is the overall energy for the week, and then we have one card each for the rest of the days, Monday through Sunday. Okay, now looking at the spread, it feels like a week of extremes. However, the overall energy of the week is the King of Swords, and this has been out for one of the other readings that I've done. I believe it was Cancer. And the King of Swords is somebody who has a very strong grip of the situation. This is somebody who's got a very strong grip of the truth, which is a weapon that he knows how to wield and very effectively. He's in a very powerful position. There's no sort of like arguing with him, no disagreement with him. He does look quite stern. It could the card could indicate anger, but it feels more like there is a very kind of cold, steely determination to be in control and to be on top of things, and to not let emotions or situations unbalance the equilibrium, and to upset the equilibrium, and for there to be like a sense of coolness, of calmness, but it is a very sort of determined resolve to be in charge and in control. I think as we start on Monday, this feeling for reserve is repeated in the appearance of the Temperance card, and the Temperance is all about kind of there being an agreement or a compromise between mind and spirit. It's like neither are running away uncontrollably. There's an alchemy between the two, and there's a happy sense of things coming together, of things being balanced. It feels like a day for quiet, for calm, for reserve, and for harmony. And in connection with the overall energy for the week, these two kind of go hand in hand, in that there is a strong sense of reserve here. I wouldn't go, there's maybe a temptation to go overboard, so I wouldn't go overboard with it and do it too much. The next day though is sort of like, well, not sort of like, the next day is exactly the opposite, because the energy is all about overindulgence. It's about things being out of balance. It's about temptation. It's about things getting out of hand. It's overindulgence. Did I say that already? It's probably doubly overindulgent. It's about being a slave to your wants and desires, and really, you know, it's not a good situation. It's not a good feeling. There is lots of temptation around this card, and so the energy is to around reining that in, and for it to not to dominate that. So there's the energy for temperance not to be the dominant force, but there's also energy for the devil not to be the dominant force. So there is the King of Wands in the middle there, who's trying to strike a balance between the two, who is determined to strike a balance between the two. it feels like with the magician, that these opposing forces, that these opposing energies, you can handle it and you can turn it towards your advantage. There is it feels like you're able to tap into the more reserved side of your personality, but there's also the ability to tap into your wants and desires, but just enough of them and just enough of the reserve, just to combine these two forces, to temper them, so that you can bring about and bring to life what it is that you want to bring into the world. So it feels like you are very capable and in a very kind of powerful position to be able to deal with what's coming towards you and to create something useful from both of these energies, to turn these energies to your advantage and to use them wisely to create something physical, to manifest something physical into your world. Now this has happened a couple of times as well. These two cards, the King of Swords, whenever the King of Swords has shown up in a reading, then the Ace of Swords has also shown up in the reading as well. And the Ace of Swords is about throwing yourself into something wholeheartedly, sort of without any sort of restraint at all, but really going for something, heart, body and soul. Whatever this is, the magician is working on, this is something that there's a real feeling of passion about. The existence of the King of Swords here, it tempers that passion into something that's controllable, something that's manageable, and something that works for you, something that works in your favour. It's not something that's going to run you, you're going to run it. On Friday, after all of these energies, we have the Queen of Swords. Now the Queen of Swords could be here for a couple of different reasons. One of them is that she could be showing up as an external influence in your life, as somebody who is somebody who's gone through a period of turmoil and is cutting themselves off from that turmoil and is refusing to acknowledge her emotions and is cutting herself off. It could be somebody that is cutting you off. You've got these energies. There is the possibility of starting something new here, and throwing yourself into that wholeheartedly. And as a result, somebody could be just a bit miffed with that, and a bit upset with that. Somebody could be feeling sort of swept aside or left out, but they are determined not to reveal their true feelings. However, my feeling is that you're picking up on this. You know about this in some way, and this is burdensome. Somebody feels like however this person is reacting, however this person is showing up, that this is a burden. And but this is the 10 of Wands, and so it's like you can't take any more, you can't carry any more, and so you have to put it down. There has to be like a balance struck here. You have to be able to deal with this to either lighten the load or to put it down completely so that you can move forward. And again, there is the King of Swords energy, where there's a determination not to get too bent out of shape, not to get too carried away with things, not to get overly emotional, and not to get too stressed out by the situation. However, by the time we get to Sunday, things have kind of, it feels like things have ground to a halt, and there's some kind of physical restraint that is stopping progress of this new project. There's an inability to move forward for some reason. And it's brought things to a halt for the moment. But this is sort of like the opposite of the magician. The magician is sort of like all systems go, and the hanged man is dead stop. And so there's the influence again of the King of Swords that is that is determined to get a grip of things and keep control of this situation so things don't get out of hand, and that there is perspective, that there is a feeling of coolness and calmness about the situation, and that there's a strong grip of these opposing energies that appear to be this one's going in that direction, that one's pulling in exactly the opposite direction, and there's a feeling of great activity, of wanting to move forward with something that you want to throw your heart and soul into, and somebody's feeling a bit cheesed off about that, and then it comes to like a full stop. Yeah, so it feels like, Virgo, you're going to have an interesting week. It feels like there is a striving for an overall control, that is, even though you have these opposing energies, that calm still reigns, and that there is a feeling of perspective, that there's a feeling of coolness about the whole thing. So I really hope that resonates. I hope you found that useful, Virgo. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'll be back next time with another weekly reading, so until then, take care.